California King beds in the locker room? What is that about? I mean, they just want to start rumors. They just want to create drama. You got beds in the locker room? Steve, I want to play a little friendly fire with you because I don't know how you're going to come down on this topic. But it's a major inflection point going on in the sports world.
What is?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, no.
Women's college basketball
oh my God.
is a bigger deal than men's college basketball. Women's college basketball has overtaken men's college basketball. The biggest news this week, yesterday, about the start of the college basketball season, number one LSU women lose to 20th ranked Colorado. This is Angel Reese's team, Kim Mulkey. This women's college, I can't name a single men's college basketball player. Not one. I can think of Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark off the top of my head. I can think of, obviously, Kim Mulkey and Don Staley, of Gino Auriemma. And Gino, they got their best player returning off of injury. The women's college basketball season is far more fascinating than the men's college basketball season. And whether you like it or not, LSU, Iowa, South Carolina, UConn, these are going to be major sports topics all year. LSU opens the season with a loss. They get blown out by Colorado. It's trending all over Twitter. Everybody's talking about Angel Reese. I want to – here's Kim Mulkey talking about the loss and talking about how soft her team was.
You live with poor shooting. You live with just a tough night offensively. What I don't live with is just guts and fight and physical play, and just you got that dog in you, and I just didn't think we had that tonight. I thought this young lady and I thought Samaya Smith did all they could. Well, look at them. You're talking about a true freshman, and you're talking about a true sophomore. We need more than just them. We needed more than those two to have a little bit of fight within. This is not going to devastate us. Chicken Little said the sun will come out tomorrow, didn't he? You know, the sky's not falling. I know a little bit about this game. I knew what we faced. But what I didn't know about my team was all those things I just described to you. Those things are fixable. But I don't know how long it's going to take to fix it. Does that make sense?
All right, stop there. Her team is soft. Angel Reese spent all off season being a celebrity, chasing bags all over the country. Go to my larger point first, though, that women's college basketball has clearly surpassed men's college basketball in terms of interest and driving discussion.
My God, we're not even in the March, and we're starting with this. But you know what, Jason? Your point is actually something I don't disagree with, and I'll tell you why. The one and done and the fact that the players in men's basketball, like a Wemby, it looks like he can play. There used to be a time a young man like him would stay at least 2-3 years, like a Michael Jordan did. And so you got to know them. Zion Williamson, he's the last time I cared about college basketball on the men's side. And so, like you said, Jason, there is a familiarity with women's basketball because they are there over time. And so you could develop rivalries and storyline. It's kind of what I call the Macarena effect. The Macarena, I remember that song. Oh, my God, it was annoying. It was terrible. It was the worst thing ever. But over a whole summer, I think in 96 or 97, we listened to it so many damn times, we started kind of like bobbing our head to it. I mean, you didn't really change the – you're like, I kind of like the song. It stuck around. Now, I want to make a promise. That'll never happen with me in women's basketball, but I don't think your point is completely off base. At least we know who's around, the players stick around, and they play. So, yes. Now, I hope it's the last time we talk about this till March, but again, I don't have any control over my own show. But, Jason, I have a point to make here. Growing up in the 80s, when I actually cared about this sport, didn't college basketball used to start much closer to Thanksgiving than the 1st of November? I think that there's an issue here. Most people still want to focus on college football before any type of college basketball. Because I still remember around Thanksgiving weekend, we would always get the Tip-Off Classic at Madison Square Garden, the Alaska Shootout, and there used to be a tournament in Hawaii, and all the top 25 teams would play. I mean, Jason, I still remember Syracuse blowing out defending champion Indiana. Sherman Douglas threw a pass between his legs to Stevie Thompson. Larry Johnson's first game at UNLV, they played at Madison Square Garden, and Roy Williams, Kansas Jayhawks, just dominated that game. And I was like, wow, Kansas is really good. And I still remember that, Jason. I've read on Twitter from people that actually care about this. They're like, oh, my God, we're seeing games with 15 people in the audience for men's basketball. They need to go back to starting near Thanksgiving. That's just my recommendation for that sport that they're not going to take.
Steve, I want to spend some time here, and just because there's obviously the women's game, the rise of the women's game, but the fall of the men's game is significant because to me it impacts my interest in the NBA, which is virtually non-existent. And it's because this whole Wemby phenomenon, Wembanyama or whatever it is, I don't know what country he's from. I don't care about him. I know the NBA is trying to act like this is a big deal. I know ESPN's trying to make it's like a big deal. This guy has no connection to American soil. He's not Hakeem Olajuwon. He didn't come over from another country and pay his dues in college basketball and build a brand. This is some 7'4" freak from some country I don't know anything about or care anything about. I would rather, and I'm just going to keep it 1,000% real, and I know I'll irritate people, but this is the problem. Basketball, not just college basketball, but men's basketball has. I would rather root against Angel Reese than follow Wembanyama. That's more interesting. Watching what's going on with LSU and how poorly they handled success is more fascinating to me and more interesting. And if you look at Twitter, when has ever a women's opening game led to all the tweets I saw, all the trending I saw with Angel Reese and LSU? People actually care about LSU and Angel Reese. I don't think people care about Wembanyama. And eventually, over time, as the NBA becomes more and more international, and that's what it is now. It's highly international. Its interest here in America is going to continue to wane. No different. If we rolled the clock back 30 years and somebody told you, man, men's college basketball is going to be virtually irrelevant in 30 years, people would have laughed at us. Same thing's going to happen to the NBA.
Wow, Whitlock, you misogynistic son of a gun, you. You know what? Thumbs up for that honesty. But here's the thing. A couple things. With Wemby, you're absolutely right. I was actually in Las Vegas for a few days during their summer league at the Thomas and Mack Center. Okay? And Wemby was the main event. The day I was there, because I had some business things to do, I left. I didn't care. I just said, I'm out. I'm not here to watch him play intramural basketball in the summer. But the impact that he would have had just with just 1 year at a Duke, Carolina, UCLA would have been enormous. Let's go back here. Kevin Durant, his 1 year at Texas, was really good for his brand. I mean, I remember watching a lot of those games where he tore up Big 12 defenses. The 1 year that Carmelo Anthony led Syracuse and Jim Boeheim to their national title was huge for his brand, and we're not even getting that anymore. But, Jason, I'll turn it around on you. I think that the NBA and their load management, I mean, I'm hearing of guys taking games off already. I'm like, hey, we're not even at Thanksgiving, guys. And if you're going to do this to your fan base, I would say that the erosion of interest in the NBA will actually now trickle down to college. So maybe I actually think it goes both ways. And I don't know how you put that toothpaste back in the tube because, Jason, you let the players have all the power, and now you have a little bit of anarchy.
Well, I'm not even going to blame the players, although they're partially to blame. I think David Stern and his reputation as one of the great commissioners of all time is bogus. He embraced this whole one and done. He embraced this straight out of high school one and done deal. It didn't take a visionary to understand, like, no, this brand building that they're doing in college actually helps our league. Why can't LeBron James sniff Michael Jordan's relevance? Because Michael spent 3 years in college building an amazing brand, and then he carried it to the NBA. LeBron went straight from high school, and LeBron has been great. But in comparison to Jordan, he's a disappointment. He can't sell shoes like Jordan. He can't draw interest TV ratings like Jordan. It's an inferior model, this either one and done or straight out of high school. The NBA should have worked out a way to compensate these guys, and they still should compensate these guys at a high enough level to make it worth their while to stay in college and build their brands and bring those brands and that fan base with them to the NBA. As a North Carolina fan, and I wasn't, but North Carolina fans followed Michael Jordan's career. They followed James Worthy's career. Now most college fans can't stand the NBA. Men's basketball has been mismanaged from the top down.
Well, Jason, I'll push back a little bit. Look, David Stern has a great legacy. I think the problem is Adam Aluminum is the worst commissioner of all time. I think he deserves a lot of blame. The other thing is, think about Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Not only was he not one and done, Jason, he actually spent 3 years at Chapel Hill. Think about that. And I'll go back to this, Jason, and I've said this to you in the past. By the time you got to the Sweet 16 in the mid-'80s, every team outside the Cinderella squad would have seemingly 3 or 4 well-known players who would make the NBA. I still remember a game, and I think it was the 88 or 89 Elite Eight game between the Flying Illini with Kendall Gill, Stephen Bardo, Nick Anderson.
Kenny Battle.
Not a great team. They were probably the best team in the country that year. And they played Syracuse, who had Ronnie Cycli, Sherman Douglas, Stephen Thompson, Billy Owens. And I'm thinking, the fact that I can remember that game, and I think I remember this year's Final Four because Miami lost to UConn. That's the only reason I didn't watch 5 minutes of that game. But, Jason, one last note here. Can we now say, and again, I know we want to stay away from a certain football coach that shall not be named, but is Colorado now a women's basketball school? Boy, that football frenzy didn't last long in Boulder. There.
Hey, I do want to show you one more thing. And this goes to the softness of LSU and the thing that could submarine these women's teams, and they get all this attention. Can they handle this level of success and attention? Kim Mulkey's wondering why her team is soft. Let's watch this video that LSU put out in October about the new facilities and locker room facilities that were given to these women. Play the video.
Look at KB. KB looks so strong. But then look at your face. That's me. Is it you? Right, you don't even know if it's you. That is me. Film room. I'm coming to film every day now. Like a Netflix. This better than my apartment. Oh, girl, this y'all look like. I ain't never leaving here no more. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
They're living in a Barbie world is what came to mind when I watched that. And you wonder why they're soft?
in all fairness, though, a lot of programs, mostly men, have facilities like that. But you know what really got me thinking, since this is SEC country? If I'm LSU, I'm thinking to myself, we spend a lot of money on that stuff. We don't really care about it. Shouldn't have that gone to some of our LSU football defense? And they're bad this year. I mean, a little better defense, they'd be right in the thick of the national title hunt. You're wasting a great year from Jaden Daniels. That's why I think allocation of funds I'm questioning. But in all fairness, most programs, though, have really like Taj Mahal facilities. So I don't know.
California King beds in the locker room? What is that about? I mean, they just want to start rumors. They just want to create drama.
No,
you got beds in the locker room?
You went there. Wow.
It's reality. It is reality. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.